So before I start this video, if you are not caught up on the most recent episode of WandaVision, just along with the whole series, same thing with The Mandalorian. If you are not caught up on Season 2 of The Mandalorian, there are going to be heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't seen them and you don't want it spoiled yet, here's your warning. If not, welcome. So I actually did want to do this video probably the last 2 weeks because I wasn't sure how many episodes of WandaVision there were going to be. Turns out there's 9, so that's pretty cool. But I did want to talk about this. Originally it was going to be a much more scripted, much more formal video, but then I also became super lazy and decided, hey, why don't I just talk about it? And I think the thing that really has me hyped is this, like, quote-unquote Luke Skywalker type cameo for the season finale. And I don't get, let me just say this side tangent real quick. I don't know why the hell they call it a season when these Marvel shows are pretty much an extended movie. Like, I don't know. If someone wants to explain that further, they can. It just seems a little stupid to me. So if you don't already understand or like what that means, basically a big character is going to be showing up. We don't know who it is. It's not White Vision, by the way, just throwing that out there. Paul Bettany has worked with himself before, I guess. I mean, if we want to go in the philosophical route, maybe not, but I'll put that aside. So basically, at the end of the season 2 of The Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker shows up and takes Grogu to train him with Baby Yoda, basically. And it was one of the most. I think I honestly cried at the end of that. It was such an amazing scene, and it works very particularly because it's not generally needed. It's fan service done right, and I think that's the thing that's cool about it. So I guess to really explain it better is that Mandalorian Season 2 is very much focused on finding the Jedi and finding Grogu's people to help train him. Along the way, we run into a bunch of characters who have already been pre-established in the Star Wars universe: Bo-Katan, Ahsoka Tano, and, well, Luke Skywalker, and probably the biggest one, which was probably the biggest fucking, I guess, joy factor for me, was Boba Fett, who basically became a side character once he was introduced. That was probably my favorite, and they are very reliant. I know that's one of the criticisms with Season 2, and that's the thing. Mandalorian, whether we're going to criticize Season 2 or not for that, is very, I guess, very individualistic, if you want to put it. Again, it does emphasize, like, there's an episode with Ahsoka Tano, there's an episode with Bo-Katan, but it's Mando kind of assisting them on this, like, journey, and they're not really the focal point. Boba Fett owes Mando, and that's why they're together. I appreciated that because that's the first time we've seen really anything Boba Fett probably since Return of the Jedi. And I guess the point of me saying that is that it makes Star Wars feel fresh, whereas the sequels was pretty much a rehash of the original trilogy, especially when so much of it is built on, yeah, well, you need to go see Luke for him to train you, or you need to go with Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. It's a breath of fresh air is what that is. Like, again, I'd love to see these characters, like, just to see what happened to them afterwards, but, like, when they become, like, the focal point of the movie, that's where it just kind of, I don't know, dies out a little bit. That's why I kind of like the prequels. Like, I always have loved the prequels. However, I don't like them more than the original trilogy. However, I can respect them in the sense that they're different from the original trilogy. I think that's the point. So with the Luke Skywalker cameo, we know thus far, like, the connections to the original trilogy of, and comparing it to The Mandalorian, is that it takes place after the second Death Star has collapsed and the Empire is in shambles but is trying to restart itself. That's pretty much all you need to know. Alderaan is mentioned. Rest in peace, Cara Dune. Unfortunately, she died sometime in Season 3. Not a prediction. That's probably what's gonna happen. Still bullshit. But the ending scene with the Dark Troopers and the Jedi coming in, which is Luke Skywalker, works very well because it's fan service done right. It's not necessarily needed, but it also helps the story in a way that it's not overly in your face. It's in and out. It's very true to what Luke Skywalker was, not what The Last Jedi was. It just works in a way like no other cameo does. There's a purpose to it. It's not, hey guys, it's me, Luke Skywalker, or hey, well, I need to train him or whatever. It's not, hey, now I'm going to be a part of your journey. It's, he also, it's kind of almost acknowledging the fact that he exists in the universe, which is weird to say because the original trilogy is all Luke Skywalker, and this is a Star Wars show, but it works in a sense of saying we can interact with these characters by sitting there and saying, hey, remember this, or hey, you're the guy who blew up this. Yeah, I think that's kind of what works for me, because Boba Fett, love the fact it made sense for him to be there. I think he got a great redeeming arc in the setup for the Book of Boba Fett. It's great. Again, Ahsoka Tano had her own episode. We probably could have avoided that, but I guess to push the narrative, it works. And Bo-Katan's just there, I guess just because, just for shits and giggles, I guess. So when we talk about WandaVision, there's to me there's two names that come into mind that would kind of work. I think Doctor Strange is going to show up. The rumor right now is that this is where the whole Multiverse of Madness shit happens. Then some of it like seeps into Spider-Man No Way Home. I believe that's the official title. And then it's all resolved in the Multiverse of Madness because Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Wanda, has been tied to the Multiverse of Madness for probably as long as it's been announced. So it has something to do with that. I'm expecting Doctor Strange in a sense that it's going to be interesting to see another Avenger like that's like still alive in, I guess, Disney Plus form on the TV, just it like involved with this thing. My second, I guess, theory is Reed Richards. Everyone kind of know John Krasinski at this point. If he walked onto any of these Marvel movies or shows, everyone would immediately know who he was, even if he wasn't officially announced. It's kind of been accepted at this point that he's going to be Mr. Fantastic, and no doubt of that. I believe personally that would be something cool for him to come in and like visit, because they didn't talk about the astrologist who's been helping out Monica and Jimmy Woo. But I think that would be him. I think that would be very cool. I think that would be much more impactful to just say, finally we have the Fantastic Four in this universe, and they're going to be done right. I think that would probably be more fitting. I'm expecting Doctor Strange to show up because of this, the magic shenanigans. That's what I think. But I think probably the more impactful one would be Reed Richards, because not only, like, I would love to see Doctor Strange. I would love to see both. But I think the more, I guess, important, or just the more very similar to Luke Skywalker type scene would be that, because it does help the narrative a bit. It adds this like extra detail to the overarching story, but it's not necessarily needed, and it's someone who we as Marvel fans, Mr. Fantastic's had, I don't know, a couple reboots. Some, like, the Fantastic Four has never been done properly in film. Let's just say that. And everyone wants a good Fantastic Four movie. So for Reed Richards to walk in and say, hey, I'm Reed Richards, what do you need? That would just, I guess, mean the world. That would mean more than probably any other cameo. I know everyone's gunning for Mephisto. That would be a good win against China. But to me, I think if we're talking, if they're comparing it to Luke Skywalker in the sense that, because I think mostly of me, I think for me more, they are hyping up this cameo in the sense of Luke Skywalker was a huge cameo, and that's what I think they're basing it off more. So for Doctor Strange to show up, that's a huge cameo. But I think if they really mean, I think there's a small part of me that says they mean it in the sense of what it meant for Star Wars fans. And this cameo, hopefully, is going to mean the same thing Luke Skywalker showing up did for Star Wars fans as whatever this character is for Marvel fans. Like, just imagine Mr. Fantastic showing up. Like, again, it's a new character. Like, I'm not hyping up every new character that comes into the MCU. I'm primarily a DC guy. Love the MCU, but, like, to me, if, like, just hearing, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted a couple months ago just talking about the original version, the visual envisionment of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and how the scene where Alfred says, "Thank God you've come. Let's hope there's enough. Let's hope you're just in time," or whatever. And it was supposed to be Green Lantern. That would have meant something to me. That would have meant the world. Or even I forget the actor's name who plays one of the military secretaries. coming out and revealing himself to be Martian Manhunter. That would mean something. Like, to just have someone walk in on there, that's the power you need. And I think that's the power of this cameo. I think it's going to be more of someone who, it might not be this big spectacular battle, but if you hear a certain name, like, to me, you don't need to do much. If it is Reed Richards, they don't have to do much. You just have to walk in and say, "Oh, Reed, I can't believe you came." And he just shows up and it's Reed Richards. Everyone would be happy. Most Marvel fans would be pretty fucking happy with that. But that's just kind of my 2 cents. I know this goes a little longer than my last couple of videos. I did want to talk about this before before the finale comes out. But whoever it is, I'll be happy with it. And yeah, that's kind of just my 2 cents I wanted to throw out there. So yeah.